There are times when life in those who the silence of a church empty says more than 1,000 sermons. The slight creaking of the wood under the pews, the candles gently flickering, and the altar there, motionless, as if waiting for something eternal to happen. Have you ever stopped to think what it actually happens at a mass when it is offered for the soul of someone who has already left? Not in theory, not symbolically, but really. What happens in the invisible world when sounds the bell, when the priest raises his chalice? Most people, even many who faithfully attend church, you can't imagine the magnitude of the mystery that is unleashed upon that sacred altar. Because while our eyes come bread and wine, the soul that is in purgatory, you may be seeing a door open toward the eternal light. Imagine for a moment that each bell chimes during the consecration be as a sign in the spiritual world, a vibration that crosses dimensions, from earth to purgatory, from purgatory to heaven. It's not poetry, it's dogma, it's faith, it's living tradition. The ancients, they knew this. Our grandparents, our great-grandmothers, they entrusted themselves to the Mass as if it were the last ship before the storm. Because they knew something that today we have forgotten, that the Mass is not just a memory of the sacrifice of Christ, it is the same sacrifice, renewed in time, touching the eternal. And here, an inevitable question arises. What happens with a soul? That soul that you love, that you lost, when are you offering a Mass for her? If that question stirs you up the soul, stay. Because what you are about to discover could change the way you see it, death, the faith and the eternity. There is an uncomfortable truth that many they have preferred to forget. Not all souls that die are ready to see God. According to the Catholic tradition, those souls enter in a place of mercy, not condemnation, called purgatory, a spiritual space where the soul, even saved, must be purified. Like gold, it needs go through it fire to shine spotless. So also the essence of the soul needs to be cleansed of all traces of ego, sin, and attachment. Purgatory is not a prison. It is an act of divine love. Saint Catherine of Genoa, a mystic of the 15th century, described this process with a shocking clarity. The soul throws itself into purgatory on its own herself, understanding that she cannot yet bear the purity of God. It is not a question of punishment, but of longing. The soul wants to see God, but it knows that first needs to be transformed, and it is here where the living have a crucial role. Because the souls that are over there, they can't anymore do nothing for yourself themselves. They cannot pray. They cannot move forward by will own. They are, in a way, waiting. And the only real help that can reach them comes from us, those who still we walk on earth. Prayers, fasting, sacrifices, yes. But above all, the Holy Mass. When we offer a Mass for a soul in purgatory, we are not sending a simple thought pious. We are sending a wave of grace that descends from the altar, penetrates the veil between the worlds, and touches directly that soul with light and comfort. And here a powerful image emerges. While you are sitting in a church pew, that soul, perhaps your father, your mother, a friend, could be receiving, in that, at the same moment, the relief that I so longed for. And I don't, you will know. You won't see it, but it will happen. Because in the spiritual world, the Mass is more real than any another thing we can touch or see in this life. There is a truth that few fully understand. Every time a Mass is celebrated, the whole body bows down over the altar. It is not a metaphor. It is not a symbolic representation. It is a spiritual reality that has been affirmed by saints, theologians, and martyrs. On that altar, the eternal becomes present. The sacrifice of Christ, unique and unrepeatable, is actualized out of the time, as if the Calvary opened once more, silently, before us. And when that Mass is offered for a soul in purgatory, something powerful is happening. The saints, they explained better than anyone else. Saint Alphonsus Maria de Liguori, he taught that the Holy Mass relieves the souls of purgatory more than any other prayer. and St. Gertrude had mystical revelations in which stated that a single Mass celebrated with devotion can free thousands of souls. Miles, can you imagine the power that encloses? While the priest pronounces the words of consecration, the bread becomes in he body, the came in the blood, and in it invisible. A chain breaks, a shadow dissipates, a light turns on for a waiting soul. In that sacred moment, when sounds the bell and the chalice rises, not only do they touch the heavens, they open, and from the altar descends a cascade of mercy that flows to the most hidden corners of the purgatory. Deceased mother, alone in that intermediate place, suddenly feeling a breeze of comfort, a clarity that wraps up, and he doesn't know why, he doesn't remember how, but in that moment, you were there, in the earth, offering that Mass for her. The altar is not just a physical place, it is a bridge, it is a spiritual battlefield. And when you offer a Mass for a soul, you convert in a warrior of light, someone who intercedes and moves the heavens in favor of those who they can't anymore talk. Nobody in he neighborhood I forgot about Doña Lourdes. She was a woman simple, with worn hands and a serene heart. Every morning, she walked slowly to the church of the neighborhood, always with a rosary in the hand, always with an intention in her heart. Her husband, Don Ernesto, deceased more than a decade ago. For 12 years, without missing a single one, Lourdes offered Masses for Ernesto's soul, not because doubted his salvation, but because I loved, and because I sensed in the depths of his faith that this love could reach it even beyond the death. Didn't ask for its signs. I wasn't looking for consolations. He only offered with humility and hope. Until that evening was a dream, but not just any dream. Lourdes was there in a field bathed in the light of the dawn. The air smelled of flowers, and the silence was so profound that it was almost could listen to yourself same breathing. And then he saw Ernesto, standing, smiling, younger, more radiant than ever. He didn't say words. He just extended hand and nodded, like someone who thanks without to speak. Then it was given, turned around and started walking towards a door of light that opened at the back from the field. When crossing it, the landscape faded, and Lourdes woke up. He didn't cry, he didn't tremble. He just knelt beside his bed and whispered, "Thank you, Lord." I understood. Since that day, Lourdes continued going to the church, but he no longer asked. Now he offered Masses for the forgotten, souls without family, without who pray for them, because he knew from his experience that a Mass, it can be the difference between consolation and the eternal loneliness. The story of Doña Lourdes did not appear in the books. It was not news, but in his sky, every chime that she heard during those Masses was the echo of a liberation. And that is enough to understand that the faith simple, the perseverance of love, and the power of Mass can work silent miracles. There is a moment during the Mass that many do not understand, a moment that passes unnoticed, but in the spiritual world resonates like a thunder. The sound of the bell during the consecration, that little ding you hear while the priest raises the host, is not a simple liturgical rite. It's a call, a cry, a proclamation to heaven and also to purgatory, because right in that moment, the eternity touches the time. God becomes present, real, alive. And that presence, offered by the soul of a deceased, has the power to tear it out of the fire of the purification and lead it to the definitive embrace of the Creator. Who, then, will raise their voice for those who can no longer speak? Who will turn on the light for those who still they wait in shadows? You. Only you can do it, because the souls in purgatory, however close they may be to us, no longer has power over their destiny. They are delivered to the mercy, already ours, intercession. It is a responsibility immense, but it is also a sacred privilege. Think in that for a moment. Every time you attend Mass, every time you pronounce a name during the intention, you may be releasing a soul that carries years waiting for that one Mass offered with faith. St. John Bosco used to say, We help souls more with a single Mass than with 1,000 prayers. Release. And he knew what he said. It saw it, lived. Today, you know it. And when you listen again, that bell, don't take it as just any sound. Think that maybe, right in that moment, someone you loved, or someone forgotten by everyone, is being set free forever. Because between the living and the dead, love does not die. It only transforms. And the Mass is yours eternal language. Now you know that a Mass is not just a ceremony. It is a divine intervention. It is an eternal act hidden in a moment. And above all, it is a real hope for the souls we love. Maybe there is a grandmother who hugged you in silence, a friend who left too soon, a father who couldn't tell you goodbye. Maybe there is a life that touched the yours and what now same. Wait for the other side, that someone pronounces his name before the altar. That person may be waiting for you. Don't need grand gestures. Just to act simple, approach the church closer, talk with the priest, offer a Mass for that soul, or simply attend with devotion and, in your heart, dedicate that sacrifice for those who love it most needs. Can you imagine the day that, when you get to heaven, someone comes up to you and says, "I am here because you offered a Mass for me"? That will be one of the moments more beautiful of the eternity. And now I invite you to do something else. Write in the comments the name of a soul for whom we will pray together. Make this space become in a virtual altar, a living community that remembers, that prays, that intercedes. Share this video with someone who has lost a loved one, because perhaps they need to know that the death is not the end, but the beginning of a hope that still can be touched by us. And if this history touched you, subscribe. Not for one more issue, but to continue discovering together the mysteries that the modern world has forgotten, but that the darling keeps waiting for us to remember. A Mass can change an eternity. Who will it be next?